Hi, I'm Parker Dahl,
And I'm Warren Eichhoff.
and welcome to So What?
A place where we answer the question that so many of our students want to ask, so what?
Why do I need to know about art? I already took finger painting in kindergarten. I got an O, which means outstanding, and I can spell outstanding.
You guys are going to be in a timeout, you know that, right? Yep. Nope. Yep.
Okay. The following are but some of the answers to those questions, and as always, you should make up your opinion based on the facts.
Today, we will actually probably talk about the Renaissance.
Specifically, how the Renaissance impacted Europe.
It all starts with this guy named Petrarch. He started collecting and reading these ancient texts from the Roman Empire, but also the Greek Empire. Now, the vast majority of these texts were spread around what that ancient Roman Empire looked like, so in places like Constantinople. And it's as he's reading some of these ancient texts, he comes up with a new ideology, humanism.
Humanists believe in studying what we now call the humanities. More specifically, that human experience rather than the divine and rational thinking rather than the spiritual can provide the source of both knowledge and a moral code to live by, and that there is an ideal human form that we can strive towards.
Oh, what? Dude. All you mortals are the same. Oh, poor me. My life is so short, therefore it is so important. Well, I've been alive for 3,000 years, and I can tell you that it is all pointless.
Are you doing okay?
Who? Me? I'm fine. I'm fine. I mean, first I lost my father, then my home, my best friend, brother, and I had a chance to make a difference, but I missed. Jane left me for a scientist, and yeah, what's the point? You know what? This is the exact question that people like Petrarch are actually going to ask. What is the point? I would like to introduce you to Petrarch and hear his viewpoints on the subject. Let's go back to Verona, Italy, 1345. Not again. Hello, random scholarly individual. Can you please tell me your name and what I should focus my life on?
Well, hello, young scholar. I am Petrarch. I would say that you are better at analyzing the reason you exist. For those that study the physical world can tell you how many hairs are on a lion's mane, with how many arms a squid binds a shipwrecked sailor. All these things, or the greater part of it, is wrong. And even if it were true, they would not contribute anything to the blessed life. What is the use, I pray you, of knowing the nature of beasts, birds, fishes, and serpents, and not knowing or spurning the nature of man? To what end we are born, and from where and whither we pilgrimage?
If I may, will this argument be easily summarized as humans exist? So what?
While you have much to learn about the art of rhetoric, your means of concise delivery are fully formed. That, I say, is an excellent and perhaps a most superb way of summarizing my point.
Whoa, I think Petrarch just threw shade at me. Whatever. Have fun saying bye for 5 minutes. As you can see, Petrarch was interested in asking questions that are almost impossible to answer. And more than that, people were discouraged from asking such questions for centuries before Petrarch even came around.
Prior to the Renaissance, throughout Christendom, the answer to why do humans exist was to love and serve God. But it will be religious people like Petrarch that start to argue that people have reason beyond their service to God.
The impacts and developments from this will take place over hundreds of years, but you are still experiencing the effects of it.
If you are in school and studying any humanities like history, literature, writing, or speaking, correction, if you're studying anything, you likely have humanists to thank for it. Humanists sought to create a citizenry able to speak and write with eloquence and clarity, thus capable of engaging in the civic life of their communities and persuading others to virtuous and prudent actions. It is going to be this belief in humanism that will inspire many universities to open for the first time.
Humanism will start to be portrayed in Renaissance art. Artists like Michelangelo will paint figures utilizing realism to make figures look more human. For the first time, the idealized figures within art were humans instead of angels.
Raphael will use balance to create a complete artistic creation.
Masaccio will use perspective to identify subtle details to make it look more realistic. Things like identifying a single light source, or making figures that are further away in an image start to fade out of focus.
Da Vinci will use vanishing point to naturally draw your attention to the most important figure in the painting.
These artists will use humanist ideals within their artwork. Just look at the envy that the angels have towards David in Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam. Even the angels envy humans.
It's not just painting either. Between Donatello's David, Michelangelo's Moses, Michelangelo's Pietà, Michelangelo sure did a lot of sculptures.
Huh. Still mortal. That's weird. It's almost like that was his preferred medium or something. Brunelleschi will design the dome of the Florence Cathedral, a towering structure that is impressive even by today's standards. What standards? Asgard is still the envy of all. Except Jane.
Many of these works are in public locations, so people could view them and marvel at their beauty. They would also subtly start to pay more attention to the ideal human form and ideal beauty, for that was what surrounded them.
Not only this, but these artists are becoming the most famous people in all of Europe. People are becoming envious of artists, not kings. They want to study ways to be more like Michelangelo, and not study the Bible to be more like the Pope. This rise in celebrity is crucial to the notion that you can elevate yourself by learning.
Don't get us wrong. Religion was incredibly important at this time. But if you don't believe that art impacts our world, then think again. Music is something that is shared across many cultures and often speaks out against political issues.
That's art.
Movies, even bad movies like Transformers, still convey messages. We internalize those messages often without realizing it.
Them be art too.
Painting is still used today as a commentary on our current world.
Very traditional art.
Perhaps the most common use of art today is photography. This is something that anyone can try their hand at, and it is where we see the sharing of a diverse set of opinions.
Instagram is art.
Not to mention that celebrities are still revered to this day. They inspire people to try new careers, they often speak out on political issues, but most of the time they are trying to influence you to buy things.
The only difference between the Renaissance and today is that the artists of the Renaissance actually earned their fame. And yes, shade at the Kardashians.
While the Renaissance is not the only thing that will encourage the creation of the educational and artistic pursuits of today, it will certainly have an impact.
Take a moment to look at the world around you and understand the influence that art has on you every day. The human experience is something that we've been trying to understand for centuries.
It will be humanists of the Renaissance that will start creating visual representations of the ideal human form and what we can become.
The only remaining question is, how will you contribute to the conversation? I don't understand. How is this supposed to help me?
Thor, we need to talk about this. Who is this Jane?
She's a scientist. So she is someone that believes in studying and the analysis of reason? I think that's your answer, dude. There might be something there. Jane was always happiest when she was teaching me about her work. But I just got so preoccupied with saving the universe. Twice. Actually, we were happiest when I was mortal. Maybe mortals are more important than the gods!
So long, strangely dressed scholar. I wish thee well on your... Hello? Of course he left. Poor fool can't sit still long enough to fully develop a coherent thought. Ha ha! Shade doth darken your direction.